The Telerik UI for Xamarin Control Suite has a wonderful data grid, and one of the best features is loading on demand, so you can manage binding to a lot of data on the client side. Let's go look at some code. Here I am in Visual Studio rendering my grid through my XAML markup. The only property you need to set here is load on demand, and I'm setting it to automatic. The buffer items count controls at what point the grid requests more data. And the whole grid here is tied to an items collection, which is actually a special one of the type load on demand. It's a generic collection, but it will know when the grid triggers the load on demand event, and we can bind to some random generated data. So when I go ahead and run this app, and this is actually the same sample app that you can find in the stores, I can go ahead and start this up. I can scroll down to my grid. And when I go on load on demand feature, you can see the buffer size being small, it starts loading right away. But then once it's done, the more I scroll, the more it loads. The more I scroll, the more it loads. Now, let's come back here, and we're going to change one more line of code here to make that a manual. And I have a little bit of styling here that controls how that manual loading will look like. I save that and I run it again. So now when I reload the load on demand feature, I now get a button so the user gets more control as to when the data grid loads more data. And the more we scroll, the button shows up and we can load more data. So load on demand for a data grid on a mobile device, done. Easy peasy.